came down to earth to show that God cares for us. He came down to earth to show that our destiny is not death. He came down to earth to show us the power over evil. He came down to earth to show us that we are not alone. He came down to earth to save us. It is true that the incarnation happened at a certain time in history. It was an event that took place in a certain time. He actually appeared on earth as man and lived in a certain time period. When did this all happen? Did it happen in December? In January? Did it happen in Kiak 29th? We'll continue today our discussion with Abuna Yohanna, Abuna from St. Mary Coptic Orthodox Church from Chicago, about the unity of the Christians and unifying the feast dates. Thank you, Abuna.
My pleasure.
Yohanna, for being with us. We'll continue our discussion about unifying the date of Christmas. And my first question today is about the possibility of the scientists and the researcher to convince the officials in Egypt to possibly adjust the calendar.
Yeah, some of the Egyptian scientists wrote books about that, about the Coptic calendar and how it should be adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, I know, I have read his book. It's a very good book, written by the professor of astronomy, and he put a plan how to adjust the calendar. Is Dr. Joseph Mikhail.
Yes.
And he just put this book, I think 2.5 years ago, but he has no power to convince the officials.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Egypt, the majority are Muslims, and they don't care about the Coptic calendar.
Yes.
And they don't use it. It is just put in the newspaper that today is Hatur 16th. That's it. Just putting it. But the Coptic Church is using this calendar every day. And everything in the life of the church is related to this calendar.
Yes.
The feasts and all the seasons of the church are related to this calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So we use this calendar, and it will be beneficial for us to adjust the calendar.
Yes.
Because we are using, but the officials in Egypt, I think there is good relationship between the church and the regime, and they will, if the church will ask the president and the officials to make this change, they will change it. The change is just to change the date.
Yes.
The proposal is to end the year, just as I have said before, it is one measure to end the Coptic year in August 29th, or in Mesra 22. Just this will be the end of the Coptic year, Mesra 22, and we will skip this 13th day, which is the gap between the calendars.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and after Mesra 22nd, we will start Tut first.
Yeah.
And this will be very easy. It is on the paper, and then we adjusted everything.
So if we deducted the 13 days of the Coptic calendar now to adjust for the Gregorian calendar, isn't our calendar will still accumulate minutes?
We will follow the same measures as the Gregorian calendar uses now. They have mechanism, as I have said.
Yes.
Yes, it is accumulating minutes, because God, when He created the earth, It is moving and circulating around the sun in that period of time.
Yes.
365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, 46 seconds. This is the speed of the Earth, and it is fixed. So the Earth completes 1 year when it circulates one circle. So
Yeah.
it is. This is what God has designed the Earth to be moving like that around the sun. So those minutes will be accumulated because we counted 6 hours,
Yes.
not 5 hours, 48 minutes and 46 seconds. So, but the mechanism will be used. We will cut 3 days every 400 years, and we will cut one more day every 4,000 years, and we will cut one more day every 20,000 years.
So the 3 days that are cut every 400 years, are they cut all together, or every 400 years we delete 3 days, or is it happening on a yearly basis?
It will be, as I explained before, it will be every 100 years.
Yes.
Every 100 years, they drop. We will drop February 29th, and we will drop the 6th day of the small month of the Coptic calendar, the year before the leap year, or the year of 2,100, 2,200, 2,300, the Coptic year before it, we will drop the 6th day of the small month.
I see.
So we will be the same. They will be the same length till the end of the ages.
We talked about a lot about the Coptic calendar. Let's talk about what the people are saying. Some information circulating between the Coptic people about unifying the date of resurrection. Is it easier to unify the date of resurrection?
Yeah, the problem is the Catholic Church, which is a big church, they celebrate the resurrection sometimes, few times, with the Orthodox
Yes.
Christians, and sometimes in another date. The calculation of the resurrection feast is another calculation.
Yes.
It is called the Epocti, and this calculation is ancient, and it is put by one of the astronomers in Egypt in the 3rd century, during the time of Pope Demetrius,
Yes.
the patriarch number 12,
Yes.
and he approved it. And this calculation is adopted by all the churches of the world, and it is approved in the Nicene Council. But when the Western churches changed or adjusted the Julianic calendar and they adopted the Gregorian calendar, some changes happened, because the calculation of the resurrection feast is a mixture between solar calendar and lunar calendar.
Lunar.
Why?
Okay.
It is a mixture between solar calendar and lunar calendar, because it is related to the feast of Pascha, of Passover for the Jews.
Yes.
You know, they have their feast, and then we celebrate after them
Yes.
the resurrection feast.
After their
Because the
Pascha.
Passover of the Jews was just a symbol of the true Lamb, the Lord Jesus Christ. So the church decided from the beginning not to celebrate with the Jews, but to celebrate after them.
Yeah.
So, and because the Jews, their calendar till now is a lunar calendar, and the Passover is related to the harvest. So they have lunar calendar,
With the Jews.
and the Passover is related to the harvest, which is
Yes.
related to the weather,
Yes.
and it should come in the spring. The harvest should come in the spring. So they had to make this mixture or connection.
Combination, yeah.
Between the lunar calendar and the solar calendar.
Okay.
It is a long story, but it is just a calculation, and it is a period of 19 years, 19, and they repeated those 19 years.
Okay.
The unit is 19 years, and they repeat. So we keep the Feast of Resurrection to be fulfilling those three categories. It should be Sunday, it should be after the beginning of
The Passover.
the spring, the
okay.
beginning of the spring. Number three, it should be after the Passover of the Jews. The beginning of the spring changed because of the Gregorian adjustment.
Okay.
So the whole system, which is related to it was related to the Julianic calendar, it is now related to the Gregorian calendar.
Yes.
According to the old calendar, the beginning of the spring now is April 3rd, I think, or 4th,
Yes.
because there is gap, 13 days. So based on this, the Feast of Resurrection changed in the Catholic Church or in the West as a whole. If we will adjust the old calendars to be like the new calendars, so I think this will be, if we put everything according to scientific facts, many problems will be solved automatically.
We have to consider scientific
Yeah,
advancements.
But now we are celebrating in different dates. Maybe every couple of years we are together. This coming year will be together, and we will spend maybe 4 or
Another
5
4
years celebrating in different dates. So it is haphazardly happening to celebrate the dates. But the church, as I know, proposed to celebrate the Feast of Resurrection in a certain date, which is the 2nd or the 3rd. Our Coptic Church, this is a proposal from the Coptic Orthodox Church to the Catholic Church.
Okay.
To celebrate this resurrection feast in the 3rd Sunday of April.
So,
And the Catholic Church, they accepted the idea. The Pope accepted, Pope Francis accepted the idea, but I think to celebrate, he is just representing himself or his church.
his denomination.
But the other Orthodox churches which are adopting the Julianic calendar and the Apocty,
Yes.
which based on the Julianic calendar, are not accepting this
They're not.
because it is a sensitive thing. Because the Apocty calculation is approved by the Nicene
Council.
fathers and the Council of Nicaea.
Yes.
So it is a holy council. Why we are changing this? This is approved by the saints, the 318 assembled Nicaea. It is not faith, but it is one of the traditions. And it is difficult to convince all the churches of the world to celebrate in a fixed date. It is good proposal, but I think it is very difficult to be accepted by the whole churches. We can't celebrate with the Catholic and leave the other Orthodox churches.
That's true. We have to get everybody together.
We have to get the agreement of all the churches.
Yes.
So this is the point of difficulty. But in the Nativity Feast, just when we adjust our calendar, it is something in our hand,
Yes.
not
It's
in the
easier.
hands of the other churches. This is something in our hands.
Yes. With this, we end our discussion this episode. Abuna, thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you for our viewers for being with us, and we'll see you next time.